can't stop the signal now.
Welcome back to another Rebel Rant. I was not actually planning on recording anything else today, but this popped up and it kind of compelled me to go ahead and record this real quick, or as quick as I can at least. So let's go ahead and dive into this one. So if you happen to seen my Anthony 223 video, you will already know exactly what I'm talking about here. This person, Anthony 223, they posted a comment on one of my videos, and then they immediately deleted it so that it would only show up on my notifications, but it wouldn't actually show up on the video for the entire world to see. So if you want to, more background on the situation, go ahead and take a moment and watch that video. And yeah, I've got a lot going on if you saw my channel announcement video, so I really need to dive into this. So as you can see here, we've got another comment by another random profile that I can't find anywhere. So the profile is Okay Lady, and as you can see, the comment is pretty vile, to say the least. Sophie does not seem to be traumatized by being gang ha-chachacha by 4 men days before. I'm not sure what they consider to be trauma, but from my point of view, with my own lying eyes, my own lying ears, that girl seemed pretty traumatized to me. Now, I have experienced my own trauma in my life, nothing like that, what she's gone through, but I have never played the victim, folks. In fact, my friends, when I tell them about the things that happened to me, things that people have done to me, they're always in shock. They can't believe it. Why? Because I don't act traumatized. I don't play the victim. I'm a pretty resilient man. I was a pretty resilient child. So this is a very disingenuous statement with very little to no basis in reality itself. To sit there and say that she does not act traumatized is, you've got to be blind, folks. You've got to ignore your lying eyes, ignore your lying ears in order to make such a statement as this. I saw with my own eyes. I watched the videos. I've known plenty of children throughout my life. I've got a fairly large family. We've had a lot of children, grandchildren, etc., etc. I know what a spoiled brat looks like, folks. I know what a temper tantrum looks like, folks. This girl was not throwing a temper tantrum. When you watch the video call between Michael and Sophie, which I went through in my previous videos, it's pretty clear that she was suffering some sort of trauma. She did not look right, folks. She did not act right. There was a man in that video behind the camera that was not supposed to be there, plain and simple. So when you see comments like this, it makes my blood boil, folks. Now, I tried looking for OK Lady channel as expected. The channel does not come up. It is either private or whatnot. There are several channels with either Lady or OK Lady. None of them have the sunflower picture. So it is not surprising one bit that the account that made this comment is not showing up. But that's not where it ends. So as you can see, if you go to the video itself, I promise I have not touched this comment. I did not delete it. I did not hide it. This person deleted it of their own accord. This is the second time that this has happened. And fortunately, I was prepared for it, folks. I documented it so you could see it for yourself. This OK Lady made this vile comment and then immediately delete it. Folks, I'm willing to bet this is a pretty common practice by these kinds of people. This is their way of making these kinds of vile statements without putting themselves in the public spotlight in a grotesque attempt to silence people like me that recognize the truth for what it is and are doing our best to put it out there for the world to see. Folks, we will not be bullied. I will not be bullied. These people have a lot to learn about Rebel Rant. Now, in the last week or so, as expected, what started off as widespread, rampant support for Michael Long and his family has quickly turned into open, baseless, vicious attacks on the father of Sophie Long. I am part of a couple of Facebook groups that were started to provide support for both Michael Long and Sophie. As you can see here, somebody was having a conversation. I'll let you read that first part for yourself. But the person that responds, not surprising they have a clown face for an avatar. Yes, they do. It's called grooming and parental alienation in regards to Sophie's behavior on camera. 2 out of my 3 kids have ODD. We're going to get to that here in just a second. I can assure you kids lie and throw horrible fits like that. You'd be shocked if you saw a manipulated child, especially by a parent. I promise you. Folks, I have seen manipulated children. And I'm speaking within my own family. What I saw from Sophie Long was not manipulation. It was legitimate fear, horror, terror. She experienced something, in my humble opinion. And before you start saying I'm not a professional psychologist or something like that, we'll get to that in just a second. Now, this is another example of what I'm talking about here, folks. On one of the comments on one of my videos, don't understand why there's so much hate to the dad. We'll get to that in just a second. And on another one of my videos regarding the Daily Mail interview with Michael Long, one Simone Schultz made a comment. Stone cold facts. Great, please list your facts. Oh, looky here, we've got a response. I made the statement. If you had actually watched the video, then you wouldn't need to ask the question. This is their response. This is mostly conjecture on everyone's part, in my opinion. I did watch the video, and I know the difference between facts and conjecture. No, they don't, folks. This person doesn't know what they're talking about. These are the types of people that will stare a chicken right in the face and call it a turkey. These people there's something wrong with them, folks. No ifs, ands, or buts. They do not see reality for what it is. They don't believe their lying eyes. They don't believe their lying ears. These types of people cannot be reasoned with, and they are part of the problem, as we will get into with further discussion in this video. Now, there was another comment from one Amanda Calhoun. Her first comment clearly states, "You are 10,000 times correct." And then she goes on to clarify that when she was 2 years old until she was almost 16, she was in the same situation as Sophie. The person doing these things to her sat in the courtroom, openly threatening her in front of the judge. The judge did nothing. And according to Amanda here, when this person got out of prison, apparently they tried to run her down with a car. Now, I don't know, Amanda, I can only take this at face value. I have no way of verifying it. This is a pretty specific story that she's telling. So on the surface, I have to take it at face value. Quite frankly, I've known women that have been in situations. I've experienced my own situations. Not quite like this, but my own situations nonetheless. I know that people are capable of doing some pretty crazy things. So according to Amanda, he served more time for violating his parole than he did for what he did to her, which is not surprising in the least. And I've been so busy, I did miss her response to my response. You're so right with every word you said, and thank you. So I don't know who she is in real life. I don't know who did these things to her. Quite frankly, I have no reason not to believe it. Not because I don't do the hashtag pound me too thing. I'm not. That's a load of malarkey, all in all. This stuff does happen, folks. Not just to girls, but to boys as well. So the fact that this happened to her as a little girl lends a good bit more credence to it by its very nature. And I will be responding to Simone Schultz here shortly, and it will be my final response to her. All right, so let's get to Critical K here. She's been posting some pretty vile stuff regarding Michael with the goal of smearing him. Let's take a look at what she has to say. So she did make a post saying, "Serious question for Mike's supporters. Why hasn't anyone ever been arrested and charged based on his 5 years of accusations?" That's a pretty valid question here, folks, but not for the reasons that she thinks. We'll get into that here in a second. Apparently, this Critical K has produced a video, some sort of public statement from Kelly Long. That right there tells me that she is in the bag for Kelly. That says far more about her than she can possibly imagine. Well, I'm not going to show the video. I'm not going into it. I'm not giving her the views. I watched a little bit of it, enough to know that without a doubt, she is anti-Michael for the sake of, well, the same reasons that anybody would support Kelly Long in spite of what their lying eyes and ears have told them. Here we go, folks. Supposedly, Critical K has a statement from the Frisco PD. Any allegations related to the department being involved in abuse of Sophie are patently false. Frisco PD would never do anything place any child in harm's way. So she is very much shilling for the establishment. We'll get to that here in a second here, folks. This is another big one here, folks. She makes the statement, the only way to validate child ha-chachacha claims is via a thorough interview done with a forensic child psychologist. You cannot validate them from a video of a child or parental exchange when emotions are high and a child may have reasons to act out and not cooperate with the exchange. You cannot validate child ha-chachacha claims only based on child statements or parent statements, unless you're a forensic child psychologist and have examined Sophie. You have no real business validating her claims or Michael's claims. A good forensic examiner would also interview Michael and Kelly, whatever your opinions and gut instincts may be, and I even have my own, which is that she's lying and Michael is coaching her. They're just that, opinions and hunches. Yet this woman has no problem speaking as if she knows better than you do. I'm not going to read the rest of this. I'm not going to waste my time because it's the same horse honky that all of these people are spewing. I'll let you read it for yourself here. The simple fact is that these people are, whether they realize it or not, they're providing excuses for the institutionalized child ha-cha-cha that has taken over our entire country. Folks, this stuff has been institutionalized. Some people are willing participants. Some of them are useful idiots. Folks, make no mistake, the feminist and alphabet agenda is fully involved in institutionalizing the child abuse. These people are attacking Michael because he's the father, because in these people's minds, the father is automatically the bad guy. The mother can never do any wrong. That is a fallacy and a lie, folks. And it's not just about this one child. It's about numerous children. It's about society in general. It's about the attack on men, the war on men, to destroy good and decent men, to destroy the family, to destroy a father's place within the family, to destroy his ability to protect his children. If you've seen my videos, you understand exactly what I'm talking about here, folks, because I've talked about it up and down, left and right, inside and out. I'm not going to rehash it again. And this right here says it all, folks. Michael, I'm coming for you. This woman is completely biased, folks. She's in the bag for Kelly Long and the people that have been doing this to Sophie. Do not believe your lying eyes. Do not believe your lying ears, folks. You're not a professional psychiatrist. You're not a professional mind reader. Folks, psychiatry is a scam. It is not a valid scientific field. There is zero scientific anything to support psychiatry, folks. It is a scam designed to steal your rights as an individual, and in these cases, as a parent. These psychiatrists do not know better than you do. They do not know your children better than you do. These people do not know who you are better than you do. At best, they're just somebody, they're an ear to fill with your problems. They're a shoulder to cry on. Nothing more, folks. Psychiatrists are not superhuman. They do not have supernatural abilities to see into your mind and into your soul. That is a scam, folks. It is snake oil. And I'm tired of seeing it over and over again be perpetuated on society, especially when it's being used to cover up child ha-cha-cha within this institutionalized child ha-cha-cha system. Folks, regardless of whether or not these are willing participants or useful idiots, the result is the same. The reality of it is the same. And it's time to take a stand, folks. Michael Long is the father. He has provided video documentation of his daughter's behavior. I don't need a psychiatrist to tell me what I can see with my lying eyes and what I can hear with my lying ears. I am a free-thinking individual with constitutional rights, freedom of expression. I have a God-given right to think for myself. And people like this, when their only argument is that you don't have the right to think for yourself, it tells you everything you need to know about who they are and what kind of person they are. Folks, people like this, these are bad people. Regardless of whether or not they are willful participants, are just the biggest, most useful idiots on the face of the planet. They have no argument, folks, other than to tell you that you do not have the right to think for yourself. Which brings us back to okay lady. Posting comments, deleting them. Too much of a coward to make their voice public. Because they know that what they're saying, they're revealing themselves for what they really are, folks. They support this institutionalized child ha-chacha, but they don't want the world to know it. Unlike people like Critical K, who have no problem putting it out there for the world to see. Folks, the feminist agenda is all about tearing down the patriarchy. Good and decent men are not allowed to prosper or proliferate because they are the biggest threat to this institutionalized child abuse, folks. We are the biggest threat to it. And these people that want to keep it in place, keep it intact, will do anything to destroy people like Michael and people like myself. I am not saying these things in a void, folks. I may be speaking into a void, but I am not speaking from a void. I have decades of life experience, drawing upon countless situations, not only that I've experienced, but that other people in my life have experienced, including ex-girlfriends, folks. Done countless years of research, reading, paying attention, keeping my eyes open, keeping my ears open. I am not speaking from a void. Just because somebody has the right to open their mouth and disagree with me, that doesn't mean I'm wrong. It does not invalidate everything that I've experienced over the decades of my life, or the evidence that is right before our eyes. I do not need to be a psychiatrist to understand human nature. I do not need to be a psychiatrist to make the correlation between what I've experienced, what I have seen, and what is happening right in front of me today. That is what America is about. The forefathers, the men that founded this country, they were not professional politicians, folks. They were not professional elected officials. They were businessmen, private citizens. They created successful businesses and enterprises before the revolution. They were not professional government officials, but they created the most amazing system of government in the history of the world. You do not need to be a professional psychiatrist to understand what is going on with your own lying eyes and your own lying ears. So people like this, like OK Lady and Critical K, they are shills for the institutionalized child ha-chachacha. I guarantee you these women and these men, make no mistake, there are feminized men out there, folks. They want to destroy the quote-unquote patriarchy. What they don't understand is it's already destroyed, folks. We already live in a matriarchy, and they will destroy every good and decent man who stands up for himself and his children and his family, and for the people around him that he cares about and might not really care so much about, because that is the only way they will maintain the illusion, they will maintain the facade, they will maintain their power. This is the full truth of what we're dealing with here, folks. I will not be intimidated. I will not be bullied when these anonymous and cowardly voices pop up. I will not run away. If we take a really quick look at the Mayo Clinic website regarding ODD, which is oppositional defiance disorder. The brief description is, even the best behaved children can be difficult and challenging at times, but if your child or teenager has a frequent and persistent pattern of anger, irritability, arguing, defiance, or vindictiveness toward you and or authority figures, he or she may be oppositional defiant disorder. Folks, that is known as a spoiled brat. That is the definition of a spoiled brat. And it comes about when children are not disciplined, folks. Parents are no longer allowed to discipline their children. They're no longer allowed to be parents, which is the whole thing with Michael Long and his daughter. When you saw the video and he had that interview with the Daily Mail, he very clearly made the statement that he was legally prevented from doing anything to protect his daughter. And folks, parents run the risk of losing their children to CPS in the system if they discipline their children. This is the perfect example of institutionalized child ha-cha-cha, folks. This stuff does not pop up in a vacuum. The fact that it has taken 5 years for the custody battle to play out between Michael and Kelly Long, even with clear evidence that something is not right, folks, this should not be happening, folks, but it is. And this is why. The child ha-cha-cha in this country has been institutionalized from top to bottom. Government agencies, police have been brainwashed into following certain procedures that make no logical sense whatsoever, folks. And nobody questions it. Or those that do are vilified and silenced. As you can see from this video, people trying to silence people like me, trying to shame and guilt us into keeping our mouths shut, attacking Michael Long, who's clearly a loving and protective father for his children. This is not an accident, folks. This has not taken place in a vacuum. This child abuse has been institutionalized, as you can see for yourself. And as we continue, as a parent, you don't have to go it alone in trying to manage a child with ODD. Doctors, mental health professionals, and child development experts can help. The Mayo Clinic, folks, is trying to get you to abrogate your responsibilities and authority over your children. Not just the Mayo Clinic, the government, CDC, CPS, the entire field of psychiatry, which is a complete and total scam, folks. They are selling snake oil and people have bought it left and right. Do not trust your own parental instincts, folks. Trust the government. Trust the psychiatrists. The people that don't know your children somehow know them better than you do. Doesn't matter that you've raised them, that you've lived with them day in and day out for years on end. No. These random strangers with made-up degrees in fields that are literally fiction, science fiction and fantasy. They are given unbridled power and control over you, your family, and your children. This is an obscenity, folks. I will not be silenced. I will not bend my knee to the bullies that support and push this institutionalized child ha-chachacha and the destruction of the American family. Trust the experts, folks. Trust the mental health professionals. Don't trust your lying eyes. Don't trust your lying ears. Don't trust your own ability to think for yourself, to see what's going on right in front of you. This has been another Rebel Rant, speaking into the void, but not from a void.
Can't stop the signal